They say confession is good for the soul. What they don't tell you is that sometimes confession is just the opening move in a chess game nobody else knows you're playing. My name is Bella, and 6 months ago, I stood in front of the entire executive board of Swanson and Benson Holdings and confessed to embezzling $3 million. The words tasted like ash in my mouth, but I said them anyway. I watched my father's face, stone cold, not a flicker of surprise or disappointment, just calculation. Bella has agreed to resign immediately, Dad announced to the room full of suits. We'll handle this internally to minimize damage to the firm. Minimize damage? Not protect his daughter? Not fight for the truth? Minimize damage. I signed the papers, walked out of the corner office that should have been mine, handed over my key card, my company phone, my future. 27 people watched me do the walk of shame past their desks. 27 people who used to respect me, who used to come to me for answers, who used to see me as the heir apparent to the Swanson legacy. Now they see me as the family disappointment who nearly brought down the company. The thing is, I didn't steal that money. My sister Maya did, but Maya was always the golden child. Maya, with her perfect smile and her MBA from Wharton and her way of making dad laugh at dinner. Maya, who could charm clients and close deals and make everyone forget that she couldn't balance a checkbook to save her life. Maya, who was supposed to be promoted to senior vice president the week after my confession. You understand why this has to be you, Dad had said during our private meeting the night before. We were in his study, the one with the mahogany desk and the wall of awards. The one where he used to help me with homework when I was 8. She's not strong enough to handle this kind of scrutiny, Bella. You are. She stole $3 million, Dad. She made a mistake, a series of mistakes, but she's learned from them. By letting me take the fall? His eyes went cold. By accepting that sometimes family means sacrifice. I thought you understood that. I understood plenty. I understood that Maya had been siphoning money from client accounts for 8 months. I understood that she'd been covering it up with fake invoices and phantom consulting fees. I understood that when the quarterly audit started getting too close, she panicked and came crying to Daddy. And I understood that Dad would rather destroy one daughter to save the other. Think about your future, Bella, he'd continued. This will blow over. Maya will run the company, and when she's established, there might be a place for you again. But if this comes out, if Maya goes down, the whole family goes down, the company goes down, everything we've built. What about everything I've built? I've been here for 9 years, Dad. 9 years of 60-hour weeks and missed vacations, and you'll have many more years ahead of you. Maya won't survive prison. You know that. I knew that. Maya was soft, privileged, used to having problems disappear with Daddy's money and influence. She'd crumble in a federal investigation. She'd probably crack before they even finished reading her rights. But I wouldn't. I was the strong one, the smart one, the one who could take a hit and keep standing. So I took the hit. The confession was flawless. I'd spent 3 days crafting it, making sure every detail aligned with the evidence Maya had so carelessly left behind. I knew the account numbers, the dates, the amounts. I knew because I'd been the one trying to fix Maya's messes for months, thinking they were honest mistakes, thinking my little sister was just overwhelmed, not criminal. I want you to know, I told the board, my voice steady, that I take full responsibility for my actions. I betrayed your trust and the trust of our clients. I'm prepared to face the consequences. The consequences: a resignation letter instead of handcuffs, a quiet exit instead of a perp walk, Dad's influence buying me a soft landing while Maya got a promotion and a corner office. But here's what nobody in that boardroom knew. I'd been recording everything for weeks, every conversation with Maya about the accounting discrepancies, every meeting with Dad about protecting the family, every lie they told, and every truth they buried. And here's what they really didn't know. I wasn't falling on my sword, I was sharpening it. The first rejection email came 3 days after my resignation. Goldman Sachs. Thanks for your interest, but we've decided to move forward with other candidates. I stared at my laptop screen in the cramped studio apartment I'd rented downtown. 47 applications sent out. 47 polite rejections or dead silence. Word travels fast in our industry, and apparently embezzlement is a real conversation killer. My phone buzzed. Maya. Bella, how's the job hunt going? Her voice was bright. cheerful, like she was asking about my weekend plans instead of my desperate attempt to rebuild a career she'd destroyed. It's going, I said. I'm sure something will turn up soon. You're so talented. Hey, I wanted to invite you to dinner Sunday. Mom's making her famous pot roast. Famous pot roast. Like we were still a normal family. Like I hadn't been sacrificed on the altar of Swanson family reputation. I'll think about it. Please come, Bella. We miss you. We, not I. We, because Maya never took ownership of anything, not even her own feelings. Sunday dinner was a mistake. I knew it the moment I walked into the dining room and saw the seating arrangement. Mom at one end, Dad at the other, Maya in the chair to Dad's right, my old chair. I got the seat next to Mom, the one usually reserved for guests. Bella, you look thin, Mom said, passing me the green beans. Are you eating enough? I'm fine, Mom. She's been job hunting, Maya offered helpfully. It's so stressful. Dad cut his meat with surgical precision. Any leads? A few possibilities. That's wonderful, Mom said. I'm sure someone will recognize your experience. Experience. Not talent, not skills. Experience. The kind you get from making mistakes. Actually, Maya said, her fork pausing midair, I have some exciting news. Dad's promoting me to senior VP next month. That's fantastic, sweetheart, Mom beamed. Tell us everything. Maya launched into a detailed account of her new responsibilities, her expanded team, her vision for the company's future. She talked about the Henderson account, the one I'd landed 2 years ago, the Morrison merger, the one I'd structured from the ground up. And the best part, Maya continued, is that I'll be spearheading the new client acquisition strategy. Dad thinks we can increase revenue by 30% in the next fiscal year. How? I asked. Maya blinked. I'm sorry? How are you planning to increase revenue by 30%? What's your strategy? Well, it's comprehensive, multifaceted. That's not an answer. The table went quiet. Dad's knife scraped against his plate. Bella, Mom said carefully, Maya doesn't need to defend her promotion to you. I'm not asking her to defend it. I'm asking her to explain it. There's a difference. The details are confidential, Maya said, her cheeks flushing. You understand. I understood plenty. I understood that Maya had no strategy, no plan, no clue how to actually run a company beyond looking good in meetings and nodding at the right moments. Of course, I said. Confidential. Dad finally looked up from his plate. Maya's doing excellent work. The board is very impressed with her initiative. Initiative, like embezzling money and letting your sister take the blame required initiative. I'm sure they are. She's really found her footing, Mom added. It's wonderful to see her confidence growing. Growing. Maya's confidence was growing while mine was being systematically destroyed, while I sent out resumes that went straight to digital trash cans, while I watched my savings account dwindle and my professional reputation crumble. How's Brendan doing? I asked, changing the subject before I said something I'd regret. Oh, he's wonderful, Maya said. So supportive. He's been helping me transition into the new role. Brendan, my former right hand, the guy who used to grab coffee with me every morning and strategize about quarterly projections, the guy who knew every detail of every account I'd ever managed, the guy who'd texted me yesterday. Need to talk. Can you meet tomorrow? That's nice, I said. After dinner, I helped Mom clear the table while Maya and Dad discussed some client presentation in the living room. Their voices carried animated, engaged, collaborative, the way Dad's voice used to sound when he talked to me. She's really blossomed, Mom said, loading the dishwasher. I was worried about her for a while, but she's proven herself. Has she? Mom paused, a wine glass halfway to the top rack. What do you mean? Nothing, just it's a big responsibility. She can handle it. Maya's stronger than people give her credit for. Stronger. Maya was stronger, but I was the one who'd taken a federal investigation on the chin to protect her. I was the one rebuilding my life from scratch while she got corner offices and congratulations. I should go, I said. Already? We barely got to catch up. Catch up? Like there was anything to catch up on. Like my life wasn't a smoking crater while theirs continued unchanged. I kissed Mom's cheek and grabbed my coat. Maya was still talking to Dad, gesturing enthusiastically about market penetration and growth opportunities. She didn't look up when I said goodbye, but Dad did. For just a moment, our eyes met. I saw something there. Guilt, maybe, or calculation. With Dad, it was always hard to tell the difference. My phone buzzed as I reached my car. Brendan again. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. The coffee shop on 5th Street. Come alone. I stared at the message, then deleted it. But I'd already memorized every word. Some conversations you don't forget to have. The coffee shop on 5th Street was the kind of place where conversations disappeared into the ambient noise of grinding beans and clinking cups. I spotted Brendan in the back corner, hunched over his laptop like he was working. Smart. If anyone saw us, it would look accidental. I ordered a black coffee and slid into the seat across from him. You look like hell, he said without looking up from his screen. Thanks. You always know just what to say. He closed the laptop and finally met my eyes. Brendan had always been good at reading people, but right now his expression was unreadable. How bad is it? He asked. The job hunt? Catastrophic. Turns out corporate embezzlement is a real resume killer. That's not what I meant. I sipped my coffee. It was bitter, over extracted, perfect for the conversation we were about to have. Maya's drowning, he said quietly. Is she? The Henderson account is hemorrhaging money. She approved 3 budget increases without checking the profit margins. The Morrison merger is falling apart because she can't answer basic due diligence questions. Sounds like growing pains. Brendan leaned forward. Bella, she asked me to explain what a P&L statement was. Last week. I kept my face neutral, but inside, something twisted with satisfaction. Maya had always been good at presentations, at schmoozing clients over expensive dinners. But the actual work, the numbers, the analysis, the strategic thinking, that had always been my domain. Why are you telling me this? Because your dad is planning to announce a major acquisition at the annual gala, $50 million, and Maya's supposed to present the financial projections. Projections she can't create. Projections that don't exist. Bella, she's been asking me to massage the numbers to make the deal look profitable. I set down my coffee cup carefully. Massage how? Inflate projected revenues, hide operational costs, make assumptions that would make a first year analyst laugh. And you said? I said I needed more time to review the data. Brendan pulled out his phone and showed me a series of text messages. Maya's name at the top, a string of increasingly frantic requests. Can you bump the Q3 projections by 15%? The board wants to see higher margins. Work your magic. Dad says you're the numbers guy. Make this work. She's asking you to commit fraud, I said. She's asking me to help her commit fraud. Again. Again. The word hung between us like a confession. You knew, I said. About the embezzlement. You knew it was her. Brendan's jaw tightened. I suspected. The account discrepancies, the timing, the way she kept asking me to double check things that were already wrong. But you didn't say anything. What was I supposed to say? Accuse the boss's daughter of stealing? End my career on a suspicion? You let me take the fall. You volunteered to take the fall. The words hit like a slap. Because he was right. I had volunteered. I'd walked into that boardroom and confessed to crimes I didn't commit because I thought I was protecting my family. I need to show you something, Brendan said. He opened his laptop again, angled the screen toward me. I've been keeping copies of everything, every email, every document, every request Maya's made. The screen showed a folder labeled insurance. Inside were dozens of files, emails, spreadsheets, recorded phone calls. Why? Because I knew this day would come, the day when keeping quiet stopped being an option. He clicked on an audio file. Maya's voice filled the space between us through his earbuds. Just make the numbers work, Brendan. I don't care how. Dad's counting on me to deliver this deal, and I can't let him down. Not after everything Bella put the family through. Everything Bella put the family through. My hands clenched into fists. There's more, Brendan said. He opened another file. This is from last week. Another recording. This time, Dad's voice was clear. Maya, I need you to understand something. Your sister's confession bought us time, but it didn't solve our problems. If the SEC decides to dig deeper, if they start asking questions about the other accounts, what other accounts? The ones Bella doesn't know about. The coffee shop noise faded to white static. Other accounts, plural. How many? I whispered. From what I can piece together, at least it's 6, maybe more. The 3 million you confessed to was just the tip of the iceberg. Jesus. It gets worse. Your dad's been moving money around to cover Maya's tracks, client funds, pension accounts, operational budgets. The whole company is basically a shell game at this point. I stared at the laptop screen, watching file names scroll past. Evidence of a conspiracy that went far beyond one sister's mistakes. Evidence of a family business built on lies and held together by scapegoats. What do you want from me, Brendan? I want to know what you're planning. What makes you think I'm planning anything? He smiled for the first time since I'd sat down. Because I know you, Bella. You didn't confess to protect Maya. You confessed to buy yourself time, to get inside their heads, make them comfortable, let them think they'd won. That's a very specific theory. It's not a theory, it's a fact. The question is, what's your end game? I closed the laptop and pushed it back toward him. My end game is survival, finding a job, rebuilding my life, moving on. Bullshit. Excuse me. You're not the moving on type. You're the burn it all down type, always have been. He wasn't wrong. Even as kids, when Maya broke something, she'd cry and apologize until someone else fixed it. When I broke something, I'd figure out how to make it better than it was before. I need copies of everything, I said. I figured you would. He slid a flash drive across the table. Password is justice. Seemed appropriate. I pocketed the drive. Why are you doing this? Because Maya's going to destroy the company, because your dad's going to let her, and because you're the only one smart enough to stop them. What if I don't want to stop them? What if I want to watch it all burn? Brendan stood up, shouldering his laptop bag. Then I guess we'll find out how much of your father's ruthlessness you actually inherited. He walked away, leaving me alone with my cold coffee and a flash drive full of evidence. Outside, it started to rain. I called Saj from my car, hands shaking as I dialed. My best friend since college, now a corporate lawyer specializing in white collar crime. If anyone could help me navigate this mess, it was her. Bella, what's wrong? You sound. I need to see you, tonight. Can you come over? Of course. Should I bring wine or a lawyer? Both. 2 hours later, Sykes sat cross legged on my couch, laptop open, flash drive plugged in. She'd been scrolling through files for 20 minutes without saying a word. Her wine sat untouched. Holy shit, she finally whispered. That bad? Bella, this isn't just embezzlement. This is systematic fraud, money laundering, possibly racketeering. She looked up at me. How long has this been going on? Based on the timestamps? At least 2 years, maybe longer. And your father knows? He's orchestrating it. Sayre closed the laptop and rubbed her temples. Okay, walk me through this again. You confessed to stealing $3 million that Maya actually stole. Right. But Maya didn't just steal 3 million. She stole from multiple accounts, and your father helped cover it up by moving money around. And now they're planning a $50 million acquisition based on fraudulent projections. Jesus Christ, Bella, do you understand what you're sitting on? I poured myself more wine. Evidence of federal crimes? Evidence that could bring down one of the biggest investment firms in the city. Evidence that could send your entire family to prison. Good. Sage stared at me. Good? Bella, these are your parents. Your sister. My parents threw me under the bus to protect their golden child. My sister stole millions of dollars and let me take the blame. They're not my family anymore. What are you planning to do? I don't know yet. Well, you better figure it out fast, because if the feds get wind of this, what if they already have? Sage went very still. What do you mean? I pulled out my phone and showed her the contact information I'd looked up that afternoon. Clark Harper, federal investigator. He was the lead on the Meridian Capital case last year. Bella, no, you can't just call a federal investigator and. Why not? Because once you make that call, there's no going back. Once you become a whistleblower, you're committed. You understand that, right? I understood. I also understood that Maya was planning to defraud investors out of $50 million while I couldn't even get a job interview. What would happen? Hypothetically. Saj reopened the laptop. Hypothetically, with evidence this comprehensive, the FBI would probably freeze all company assets within 48 hours. Your father and Maya would be arrested. The company would be shut down pending investigation. And me? You'd be protected under whistleblower statutes, probably eligible for a percentage of any recovered funds. How much? Could be millions. Depends on how much they recover. Millions. Enough to rebuild my life. Enough to start over somewhere else. Enough to never have to see my family again. My phone buzzed. Maya, don't answer it, Saijay said. I answered it anyway. Bella, I'm so glad I caught you. Listen, I have a huge favor to ask. What kind of favor? I need help with the gala presentation. The financial projections are, well, they're more complicated than I expected. You want me to help you with the presentation? I know it's awkward, but you're so good with numbers and I'm drowning here. Dad's counting on me and I can't let him down. I looked at Sage, who was shaking her head frantically. What exactly do you need help with? Just making the numbers look better, more attractive to investors. You know how to do that, right? Making the numbers look better. She was asking me to help her commit fraud. Again, Maya, are you asking me to falsify financial documents? No, God, no. I'm asking you to present them in the best possible light. That's the same thing. It's not, it's just creative accounting. Creative accounting. The same phrase Dad had used when he'd asked me to adjust some client reports 3 years ago. The same phrase that had made me uncomfortable then and should have been a red flag. I can't help you, Maya. Please, Bella, I'm begging you. I know things have been weird between us, but we're family. Family. The word that had gotten me into this mess in the first place. I said no. But I hung up. Saig was staring at me. She just asked you to help her commit fraud on a recorded phone call. I know. Bella, she's not just stupid, she's desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from Maya. Please don't tell anyone about our conversation. I misspoke. The presentation is fine. I showed the text to Saj, and now she's trying to cover her tracks, Seiji said. Badly. What would you do if you were me? Saji closed the laptop and looked me straight in the eye. I'd call Clark Harper tonight, before Maya has a chance to destroy more evidence or drag more people into this mess. And if I don't, then you're complicit. You know about ongoing fraud and you're choosing not to report it. That makes you an accessory. An accessory to my own family's crimes, to the destruction of my own life. I picked up my phone and dialed Clark Harper's number before I could change my mind. Harper, Mr. Harper, my name is Bella. I need to report financial crimes at Swanson and Benson Holdings. What kind of crimes? Embezzlement, fraud, money laundering. I have evidence. A pause. How much evidence? Enough to shut them down. Can you come in tomorrow morning? 8 a.m.? Yes. Bring everything. And Ms. Just Bella. Bella, once we start this process, there's no stopping it. You understand that? I looked at Sage, who nodded encouragingly. I understand. Good. See you tomorrow. I hung up and immediately felt like throwing up. You did the right thing, Sage said. Did I? Yes. And now we need to prepare for war. War. That's exactly what this was going to be. The FBI field office smelled like burnt coffee and industrial carpet. Clark Harper looked exactly like I'd imagined. Mid-50s, gray suit, tired eyes that had seen too many corporate criminals lie to his face. Miss Swanson, he said, gesturing to a chair across from his desk. Thank you for coming in. I placed the flash drive on his desk. Everything's on there: financial records, emails, recorded conversations, 2 years worth of evidence. Harper plugged in the drive and started scrolling. His expression didn't change, but I caught him pausing on certain files, making notes. This is your sister's voice on these recordings? Yes. And your father's? Yes. You recorded these conversations without their knowledge? Some of them. Others were recorded by a colleague who's also willing to testify. Harper leaned back in his chair. Why now? Why are you coming forward? Because they're planning something bigger, a $50 million acquisition announcement at the annual gala next week, based entirely on fraudulent projections. The Meridian Group acquisition? I blinked. You know about it? We've been watching Swanson and Benson for 6 months. Your confession last year raised some red flags. My confession was bullshit. We knew that from day one. Nobody with your financial background makes the kind of amateur mistakes you confess to. 6 months. They'd been investigating for 6 months while I'd been sending out resumes and eating ramen noodles. So why didn't you arrest them? Because we needed evidence of ongoing criminal activity. Your confession actually helped them. It gave them a scapegoat and made them think they were safe. And now? Harper closed the laptop. Now we have enough to bring down the entire operation. But I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. Okay. Are you doing this for justice, or are you doing this for revenge? The question hung between us like a challenge. I could lie, tell him it was about justice and protecting investors, but Harper had tired eyes that had heard every lie in the book. Both, I said. He smiled for the first time since I'd walked in. Good. Revenge keeps you motivated. Justice keeps you honest. We'll need both. What happens now? Now you go home and act normal. Don't change your routine. Don't avoid family events. Don't do anything that might tip them off. The gala is in 5 days. I know. We'll be there. I left the FBI office feeling like I'd just lit a fuse on a bomb I couldn't defuse. My phone was buzzing with missed calls from Maya, 7 of them. I called her back from my car. Bella, thank God, I've been trying to reach you all morning. What's wrong? It's the presentation. The numbers aren't adding up, and Dad's asking questions I can't answer. What kind of questions? About profit margins and cash flow projections, and God, I don't even understand half of what he's asking. Mattia was crying, actually crying. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Maya, you need to tell him the truth. What truth? That you don't know what you're doing, that you're in over your head, that this acquisition is a mistake. I can't do that. He's counting on me. The whole board is counting on me. Then figure it out. I can't. Bella, please. I know I messed up before, but I'm trying to make it right. Make it right, like embezzling millions of dollars and destroying my career, was just a little oopsie that could be fixed with good intentions. How exactly are you trying to make it right? I've been working with Brendan to restructure some of the accounts, move some funds around to cover the shortfalls. Move funds around. She was still stealing, just calling it something else. Maya, that's not making it right. That's making it worse. It's temporary, just until the acquisition goes through. Then we'll have enough cash flow to what? Pay back the money you stole with money you're about to steal? It's not stealing. It's strategic reallocation of resources. Strategic reallocation. I almost laughed. Maya had learned to speak corporate bullshit, but she still couldn't balance a checkbook. I can't help you, Maya. Please, I'm begging you, one last favor, and then I'll never ask you for anything again. One last favor. The same thing she'd said when she'd asked me to cover for her with the Henderson account. The same thing she'd said when she'd needed help explaining the Morrison discrepancies. What kind of favor? Come to the gala. Sit at the family table. Show everyone that we're united. United? Dad thinks it would be good optics. Show that the family has moved past recent difficulties. Recent difficulties. That's what my destroyed career had become. Recent difficulties. I'll think about it. Really? I said I'll think about it. I hung up and immediately called Saj. They want me at the gala, I said without preamble. Of course they do. Nothing says we're not criminals like having the family scapegoat smile for the cameras. Harper said to act normal. Going to the gala is normal for you. Not going would be suspicious. So I should go? You should go, and you should wear something spectacular, because you're going to be the most important person in that room. That night, I went shopping for the first time in months. Not at the discount stores I'd been frequenting, but at the boutique where I used to shop when I had a salary and a future. The saleswoman recognized me. Ms. Swanson, we haven't seen you in ages. I've been busy. Of course. How's work? Changing. I tried on a dozen dresses before I found the right one. Black, elegant, expensive. The kind of dress you wear when you want to be remembered. Special occasion? The saleswoman asked. You could say that. I paid with my credit card, watching my available balance drop to almost nothing. But it didn't matter. After next week, money would either be irrelevant or the least of my problems. Walking back to my car, I passed the Swanson and Benson building, 43 floors of glass and steel with the family name etched in gold letters above the entrance. In 5 days, those letters would probably be covered with federal seizure notices. I smiled and kept walking. The grand ballroom at the Meridian Hotel buzzed with the kind of energy that only came from putting 300 wealthy people in one room with an open bar. I stood at the entrance, smoothing down my black dress, watching familiar faces from my old life mingle and laugh like I'd never existed. Bella! I turned to see Destiny approaching, Maya's college friend and current lapdog. She looked nervous, fidgeting with her clutch. I wasn't sure you'd come, she said. Maya invited me. Right, of course. Destiny glanced around the room. Listen, can we talk? Privately? What about? It's about Maya. I'm worried about her. Before I could respond, Mom appeared at my elbow, resplendent in navy blue and diamonds. Bella, darling, you look lovely. Come, your father wants to see you. She guided me through the crowd toward the head table, where Dad stood talking to a group of investors. He looked every inch the successful CEO, silver hair perfectly styled, expensive suit, confident smile, the kind of man people trusted with their money. Gentlemen, he said as we approached, I'd like you to meet my eldest daughter, Bella. The men shook my hand politely, but I caught the subtle glances, the way their smiles didn't quite reach their eyes. They knew who I was, what I'd supposedly done. Bella's been taking some time to explore new opportunities. Dad continued smoothly. Family businesses can be limiting for ambitious young people. Limiting, not destroyed by false confessions. Limiting. Of course, one of the investors said, sometimes a change of scenery is exactly what's needed. Exactly, Dad agreed. In fact, Bella's experience has given her a unique perspective on risk management. Haven't you, sweetheart? I smiled. I've certainly learned a lot about consequences. Dad's smile flickered for just a moment. Indeed. Now, if you'll excuse us, I need to steal my daughter away. Family photos, you understand. He guided me away from the group, his hand firm on my elbow. What are you doing here, Bella? Maya invited me. You wanted me here for optics, remember? I wanted you here to smile and look supportive, not to make cryptic comments about consequences. Was I being cryptic? I thought I was being honest. Dad's grip tightened. Tonight is important. Maya's presentation could secure our future. I need you to behave. Like a good daughter? Like a smart woman who understands what's at stake. Before I could respond, Maya appeared beside us, radiant in emerald green. She looked confident, poised, every inch the successful executive. Only I could see the slight tremor in her hands. Dad, they're ready for the presentation? Excellent. Dad straightened his tie. Remember, confidence is key. You know this material better than anyone. Maya nodded, but I caught her glancing at Brendan across the room. He was standing near the AV equipment, looking pale. Break a leg, I told her. She smiled gratefully. Thanks, Bella. It means a lot that you're here. The lights dimmed and Dad took the stage, his voice carried easily across the ballroom as he introduced the evening's main event, the announcement of Swanson and Benson's largest acquisition to date. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the architect of this groundbreaking deal, our senior vice president, Maya Swanson. Applause filled the room as Maya walked to the podium. She looked confident, professional. For a moment, I almost believed she knew what she was doing. Thank you, Maya began, her voice clear and strong. Tonight, I'm excited to share with you an opportunity that will revolutionize our industry. She clicked to the first slide, a glossy overview of the Meridian Group acquisition, $50 million, projected returns of 30% within 2 years. The numbers speak for themselves, Maya continued, clicking to the financial projections. But something was wrong. The slide that appeared wasn't the one Maya had prepared. Instead of polished charts and optimistic forecasts, the screen showed a detailed breakdown of the company's actual financial position. Real numbers, accurate numbers, devastating numbers. Maya froze. The room went silent. I'm sorry, she said, her voice cracking. There seems to be a technical issue. She clicked frantically, but each new slide was worse than the last. Account deficits, missing funds, a paper trail of fraudulent transactions stretching back 2 years. I looked at Brendan. He was staring at the screen, his face a mask of shock and something else. Relief. maybe? Maya? Dad's voice cut through the silence. He'd moved to the side of the stage, his face pale. Perhaps we should. No, Maya said, her voice rising. No, this isn't right. These aren't my slides. But the damage was done. The room was buzzing with whispers, investors pulling out their phones, board members looking at each other with growing alarm. I felt someone sit down beside me. Destiny. I'm sorry, she whispered. For what? I gave them the real files, the ones Maya asked me to hide. I stared at her. You did this? She was going to destroy people's lives, pension funds, retirement accounts. I couldn't let her do it. On stage, Maya was still trying to salvage the presentation, but her voice was shaking now. Dad had moved closer, whispering urgently in her ear. Ladies and gentlemen, Dad said, taking the microphone, we're experiencing some technical difficulties. If we could just. The ballroom doors opened. Three men in dark suits walked in, moving with purpose toward the stage. I recognized Clark Harper immediately. Aaron Swanson, Harper's voice carried across the suddenly silent room. You're under arrest for securities fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. The room erupted. Cameras flashed as Harper read Dad his rights. Maya stood frozen at the podium, watching her world collapse in real time. Maya Swanson, another agent, called out, You're also under arrest. I watched my sister's face crumble as the handcuffs clicked into place. For a moment, our eyes met across the chaos. She looked confused, betrayed, like a child who couldn't understand why she was being punished. Mom was crying somewhere behind me. Investors were shouting questions. Board members were fleeing toward the exits. I sat perfectly still, watching it all unfold exactly as I'd planned. Almost exactly. I hadn't planned on Destiny being the one to pull the trigger. I hadn't planned on feeling this hollow as I watched my family's empire crumble, but I had planned on winning. And I had. The chaos in the ballroom reached a fever pitch as federal agents escorted Dad and Maya toward the exits. Investors were shouting, cameras were flashing, and Mom was sobbing into her champagne flute. I stood up slowly, smoothing my dress. Time to finish this. Excuse me, I said, walking toward the abandoned podium. My voice wasn't loud, but something about my movement caught people's attention. The room began to quiet. Excuse me, I repeated, stepping up to the microphone. I think there's been some confusion tonight. Harper looked at me sharply from across the room. This wasn't part of our plan. My name is Bella Swanson, I said, my voice carrying clearly through the sound system. 6 months ago, I confessed to embezzling $3 million from this company. The room went dead silent. Even the agents stopped moving. I lied. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Dad, halfway to the door in handcuffs, turned to stare at me. I didn't steal that money. My sister Maya did. But I confessed anyway because my father convinced me it was the right thing to do. For the family. For the company. Bella, don't, Mom called out, but I ignored her. What you saw tonight, those financial records, those missing funds, that's just the beginning. For 2 years, my family has been systematically defrauding clients, manipulating accounts, and covering their tracks with lies. I pulled out my phone and held it up. I have recordings of every conversation, every confession, every plan to destroy evidence and silence witnesses. Harper was moving toward the stage now, but I wasn't done. Maya asked me just last week to help her falsify the projections for tonight's presentation. She wanted me to make $50 million in fraud look like a sound investment. That's not true, Maya screamed from across the room. She's lying. She's the one who. Who what, Maya? Who taught you how to move money between accounts? Who showed you how to create phantom invoices? Who spent 9 years building the systems you used to steal from our clients? Maya's face went white because we both knew the truth. I had taught her those things back when I thought I was training my little sister to eventually take over the family business legitimately. The irony, I continued, is that I was actually good at my job. I could have made this company profitable without stealing a dime, but that wasn't enough for my father. He needed a scapegoat when Maya's crimes started catching up with her. I looked directly at Dad. You threw me away like garbage to protect her. You destroyed my career, my reputation, my future. You made me unemployable in my own industry. Bella, please. Dad said, his voice breaking. You don't understand the pressure we were under. The board, the investors. I understand perfectly. You were willing to sacrifice one daughter to save the other. The question is, was it worth it? The room was so quiet I could hear Mom's quiet sobs. 6 months ago, I walked out of this company in disgrace. Tonight, I'm walking out as a federal witness who helped bring down one of the biggest financial fraud schemes in the city's history. Harper reached the stage. Ms. Gordon Swanson, that's enough. No, it's not. I turned back to the microphone. There's one more thing everyone should know. I pulled the flash drive from my purse and held it up. Everything is on here, every email, every transaction, every lie. I've been recording and documenting for months, building a case that will ensure my family never hurts anyone else again. You vindictive bitch, Maya screamed. We're your family. No, I said calmly. Family doesn't throw each other under the bus. Family doesn't destroy each other's lives for profit. Family doesn't ask you to confess to crimes you didn't commit. I stepped down from the podium and walked directly to Harper. Agent Harper, I believe you have everything you need. We do. Thank you, Ms. Swanson. As Harper led me toward a side exit, away from the chaos, I heard Mom calling my name. Bella! Bella, wait! I turned. She was pushing through the crowd, mascara streaked down her cheeks. How could you do this to us? She sobbed. We're your family. You made your choice 6 months ago, Mom. Tonight I made mine. But Maya's your sister. Your father raised you, loved you. My father used me. Maya betrayed me, and you stood by and watched it happen. Mom reached for me, but I stepped back. I gave you everything, she whispered. I raised you, supported you. You raised me to be loyal. I was loyal. I confessed to crimes I didn't commit to protect this family. And what did I get in return? Mom had no answer. Goodbye, Mom. I walked away, leaving her standing in the wreckage of the family empire. Outside the hotel, Brendan was waiting by a black sedan. Sage is in the car, he said. She thought you might need a friend. What about you? Won't the FBI want to question you? Already done. Turns out cooperating with a federal investigation is a lot easier when you have documentation of everything. I looked back at the hotel where flashing lights from news vans were already gathering. Any regrets? Brendan asked. I thought about Maya's face when the handcuffs clicked, about Dad's broken voice pleading for understanding, about Mom's tears. Ask me tomorrow, I said. But even as I said it, I knew the answer. No regrets. Not one. The coffee shop where Brendan and I had first conspired was busier now, filled with the morning rush of people who still had normal jobs and normal lives. I sat in our old corner booth, reading the newspaper headline for the third time. Swanson Empire crumbles, father and daughter sentenced in 50 mailers fraud case. The door chimed, and Saig walked in, carrying 2 cups and wearing the biggest smile I'd seen from her in months. Guilty on all counts, she announced, sliding into the seat across from me. Maya got 8 years. Your father got 12. I folded the newspaper carefully. And the company? Liquidated, assets seized. The FBI recovered about 60% of the stolen funds. 60% of how much? Sage's smile widened. Try not to choke on your coffee. $87 million. I nearly dropped my cup. 87 million? I thought it was 50. That was just the acquisition fraud. Turns out your family had been creative with client funds for a lot longer than anyone realized. The math was simple. As the primary whistleblower, I was entitled to 15% of recovered funds, 15% of $52 million. Bella, you're rich. Like, never work again rich. I stared at her. How rich? $7.8 million rich. The number hung in the air between us like something unreal. $7.8 million. More money than I'd ever imagined having. More money than Dad had ever paid me in salary. More money than Maya would see in her lifetime, assuming she got out of prison before she was 40. There's more, Sage continued. 3 different law firms want to hire you. Apparently, your reputation for thorough documentation and ethical standards is spreading. Ethical standards, that's ironic. Is it? You exposed criminals. You protected investors. You did the right thing. I destroyed my family. Your family destroyed itself. You just documented it. The door chimed again. This time it was Brendan, looking harried but relieved. Sorry I'm late. Had to finish cleaning out my office. They fired you? I asked. They liquidated the company, remember? But I got a call this morning. Morrison Financial wants me to head their new compliance department. Congratulations. Actually, they want to talk to you too. Apparently, someone with your experience in detecting financial fraud is exactly what they need. I laughed, surprising myself. My experience in detecting financial fraud. You're famous, Bella, the woman who brought down her own family to protect investors. Every financial firm in the city wants that kind of integrity on their team. Famous. I pulled out my phone and showed them the screen. 47 missed calls, 32 voicemails, and over 200 text messages. Half of these are from reporters, I said. The other half are from people I haven't talked to in years, suddenly wanting to catch up. And the rest? I scrolled through the messages. Job offers, speaking requests. Someone wants me to write a book. Are you going to? Write a book? About what? How to destroy your family in 8 easy steps? Syed leaned forward. About how to choose justice over loyalty. About how to do the right thing when it costs you everything. Did it cost me everything, though? The question surprised me as much as it surprised them, because sitting here with $7.8 million dollars in my future and job offers piling up, it didn't feel like I'd lost everything. It felt like I'd finally won something. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is destiny. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I wanted to say thank you. What you did took courage. Maya was my friend, but you were right to stop her. I showed the message to Sage and Brendan. See? Saiji said. You're not the villain in this story. Then what am I? You're the hero who didn't get to ride off into the sunset with her family intact, but you're still the hero. Another text came in, this one from a number I recognized but hadn't seen in months. Bella, this is your mother. I know you won't answer if I call. I just wanted you to know that I understand now why you did what you did. I'm sorry we failed you. I'm sorry we made you choose between your family and your conscience. I hope someday you can forgive us. I stared at the message for a long time. What does it say? Brendan asked. My mother apologizing. That's something, right? It's something. I deleted the message without responding. Some bridges, once burned, couldn't be rebuilt, but maybe that was okay. Maybe some bridges were meant to burn. So what now? Sage asked. Tropical vacation? New identity? Witness protection? I looked around the coffee shop, at the normal people living their normal lives, and realized I could be one of them now. I could be someone who didn't carry the weight of family expectations or the burden of other people's crimes. Now I figure out who Bella is when she's not trying to save everyone else. And if you don't like who that is, I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in months. Then I'll become someone better. Outside, it started to rain, but for the first time in a long time, I didn't mind getting wet.